Okay, this is my audience. There and there. Okay. Good evening. How many of you have heard of Rod Stewart? Have you heard of his hit single, Maggie May? Any idea when it was released? Okay, I'll tell you. July 1971. Today I will be giving you a speech about people and events that occurred during the month and the year I was born, which is July 1971. Let me start with some history. The 26th Amendment. This represents the right for U.S. citizens to vote. The age was changed from 21 to 18. Congress took only 4 months to ratify this, and that took place July 1st, 1971. This was the shortest time for any constitutional amendment. The final vote was 401 to 19, and this changed the voting age. At the time, Richard Nixon was President of the United States and certified the 26th Amendment on July 5th, 1971. North Carolina and Ohio were the last two states to approve it. Another historical event was Apollo 15. What is this, you are wondering? Apollo 15 was the fourth mission to land men on the moon. The spaceship launched from NASA Kennedy in Florida on July 26, 1971. The lunar vehicle, also known as the moon buggy, is the only example of another means of transportation besides here on Earth. James Irwin was the pilot, and the vehicle consisted of four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, forward, reverse, and even had a parking brake. The tiller, the steering, was made in the center, and this enabled two astronauts to drive it. It was also powered by battery. The speed control could go up to 20 kilometers per hour, and the cost to make this was $8.5 million. This was the first out of 4 that were made. The vehicle was used to explore the geographic region of the moon. They collected samples and did experiments and took photographs from the orbit of the moon. Let me introduce to you Patricia Robert Harris. Who is she exactly? Patricia Roberts Harris was the first African American in cabinet. On July 19, 1971, she began her position in the cabinet as Secretary of Health and Human Services. She previously worked under the administration of Jimmy Carter. She was the United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, as well as the United States Secretary of Education and Welfare. She was further renamed Secretary of Health and Human Services. Patricia was the first African American to serve in the United States Cabinet and the first to be in line of succession to the presidency. She was also the first African American woman to represent the United States as an ambassador. Unfortunately, during July 1971, there were not always pleasant or inspirational events. On July 30th, 1971, there was a horrific event that took place. A Bing 727 aircraft flight was departing from Sapporo, Japan to Tokyo. The aircraft approached an area where a student and his instructor were flying their Mitsubishi-built North American F-86F fighter jet. The student was not watching air traffic when the 727 approached. The instructor told him to break away, but it was too late. He hit the left stabilizer with his right wing. This caused the 727 to spiral out of control and crash. The pilot was able to eject himself safely out of the aircraft. There were 7 crew members and 155 passengers, and none of them survived. Lastly, I will be sharing some brief information regarding a few famous people. First is Reggie Jackson. He's a famous baseball player who played in the MBL, the Minor Baseball League. On July 13, 1971, it was American League versus National League at the Tiger Stadium in Detroit, Michigan. The score was 3-0, 3 for American League and 0 for the National League. Reggie Jackson was up to hit. The ball was pitched. He swung it so hard it went into the right field. It was believed that the ball would have left the park if it didn't hit the light tower on top of the building, but it did fall back into the field. Sports commentators were saying it was the hardest hit they have ever seen, maybe going as far as 600 feet. The final score was 6-4, 6 for the American League and 4 for the National League. Now some TV stars. Sandra Oh. She was Canadian and is an actress and played on the hit TV series Grey's Anatomy as Christina Yang. She was born on July 20th, 1971. Missy Elliott, also born July 1st, 1971, is an American songwriter, singer, and rapper and is known for her hit song Work It. So to wrap it up, I have shared with you some history, some fortunate and not so fortunate events, and some information about a few famous people, all of which has occurred during the month and the year I was born. Thank you.